What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Perfect Mess Podcast. I'm your host, Ray Molina, and just want to check in with you guys and drop another episode and talk about a few things. But before I do that, make sure that you follow me here. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel right now. And a few pages that you should probably follow. I do a TikTok live broadcast every Monday through Friday for my podcast. So if you would like to interact with me live and be able to have a conversation and join in on some of the topics that I talk about here on my podcast, make sure to follow me on TikTok Monday through Friday at about 9 p.m. West Coast time, 9:30 p.m. West Coast time. I go live for a few hours and you guys can join in on that. So again, go to TikTok, follow me at It's Ray Molina, and you can have a conversation with me and all the people, wonderful people that I have over there, okay? That's also my Instagram. Follow me on Instagram, It's Ray Molina, and make sure to check out the website, raymolina.com. All right, and I have tons of merchandise, so please check it out. So I want to come on here and talk a little bit about having difficult conversations. All right, and this has been a thing going on. I'd like to say, God, it probably started in 2016, but it's really been a big thing since the pandemic. And having difficult conversations is something that is a very big issue with our country right now, with just people in general. People seem to struggle with having respectful conversations with people that they don't agree with. And I've noticed that for so many years now, about 5 years going, and I've noticed that one of the biggest problems we have is communicating and being respectful. And the more and more I interact with new people, I'm seeing that I'm right. You know, I'm okay with being right about that. Am I happy about it? No. Because I'm someone who likes to, I'm different, okay? I've always been different. I know that because people that have been around me always tell me that, you know, you function differently. You have conversations that I would shut down with people in a heartbeat. I wouldn't entertain a conversation with that person because I don't agree with them. And me, I've always been someone where I want to understand why you think the way you think. And if I completely disagree with you, I'm curious as to how you got to your conclusions on whatever topic we're talking about. And I want to discuss that, and I want to share with you my thoughts, and I want to at least come to an understanding to where even if I don't agree with you, I at least understand you. I think that's why a lot of people have told me that they enjoy my podcast, because I have this way of carrying conversations, talking about difficult things, and when I do my lives, I have a way with navigating through these tough conversations with people and trying to get the room in order and to where it flows organically and to where people can talk without interrupting and arguing with each other. I think that's why I'm a huge Joe Rogan fan, because Joe Rogan has this thing with his podcast where he sits down and talks to interesting people. Like, that's his thing. Like, he wants to talk to interesting people. It doesn't matter if he agrees with them. If you're interesting, like, he wants to talk to you. And for me, like, that's something that I've always admired about him, because he's not afraid to sit down with people that he knows he's going to disagree with. But he's intrigued enough to where I want to know what makes you tick. And let's discuss that in detail. Regardless of what his fan base that listens to his podcast thinks, he's going to have these conversations. And he always says this: If this is not something you're interested in, then just skip this episode. And I can tell you that is my attitude. I'm going to sit down. I haven't had a guest on my podcast for 6 years. It's been just me, and I've brought my kids on a few times, but that's it. But I'm going to talk about things that are uncomfortable. And when I do my live shows on TikTok, we're going to talk about difficult topics that we're not going to agree on. And I'm going to bring people on that I don't agree with, but I'm going to have a conversation with. And so my approach to when people say, this is too touchy of a subject, try to, talk about something more uplifting and whatnot. My mentality is this: if it's a touchy subject for you, then move on for the night. Like I love everybody who comes through to support, who listens to the podcast, but I'm also of the belief that if a subject that we're discussing triggers you, then that's a night that you need to skip through, because it's just not for you. I'm the same way. If I listen to something and maybe I'm not feeling it, I'm like, this is not the episode for me. I do that with Rogan all the time. I mean, there's tons of other podcasts I listen to. Andy Frisella. I listen to Theo Vaughn. I listen to Jordan Peterson. I listen to, who else? I mean, there's tons of people that I listen to. Joe Budden podcast, which is that one I turn off a lot, because although I'm a former old school hip hop head, I don't always agree with a lot of the stuff that they talk about on that show. So that one I skip a lot of episodes. But one thing I'm never going to do is shy away from having these conversations. With that being said, I think a lot of that started with politics, right? I think a lot of the people not wanting to hear people out started with politics. I think we can all agree that our political climate is, and has been for quite some time now, probably more than, 10, 15 years, it's been pretty damn rocky. But I think that's where it all started from. People started having more and more of an opinion with regards to politics and religion and gender and sex and all this stuff, that people are so triggered now that immediately when they hear something they don't agree with, they shut it down, or they cover their ears and say, I don't want to hear it. Doesn't matter if it's rooted in truth or if it's lies or whatever, they just don't want to hear it. And that is a huge problem, because if you're in an echo chamber, it does nothing for you to learn about anything. And some people have told me, well, why do I want to learn about somebody I don't agree with? It's not about learning. It's about, learning is part of it, but it's also about understanding. See, I can understand where someone comes from and still disagree with them and say, nah, I think that person is way off basis, but that's their belief, and I'm going to leave it at that. I've had people tell me, yeah, but what about racist people? What about this? What about that? And I'm like, it is still their belief. They still have reasons that I now understand how they got there. Maybe I don't agree, but now I understand them and how they got to that conclusion. And that's what I'm looking for. Now, I remember having a conversation with someone about, people going to colleges a few years ago, speaking about very sensitive topics, right? And I remember it being shut down, and people were firebombing and, spraying people with mace and all this stuff. And I remember telling this person, why would you do that? He said, because we got no room for hate speech on this campus. Okay, But this is a college campus. You should be learning, you should be hearing ideas. You should be hearing opinions at a college campus. And by the way, you should be learning how to defend what you believe in and be able to debate with somebody if you're that passionate about, instead of acting out. And that's where we are right now, where people are acting out instead of acting accordingly. And some people may say, well, acting accordingly, we did. You bring hate to my campus, then we firebomb and we mace people. That's not acting accordingly. That's acting like a child. That's acting like somebody who doesn't want to hear anything and wants to just people to go away. I just want you to go away. No, the way to do that intelligently is have these debates, have these tough conversations, figure out, why does this person view the world this way? Let me challenge them. But we're not there, and we haven't been there for quite some time. For quite some time, we have not been there. I was told, well, I'm told this a lot. You speak with compassion. You speak with understanding. You let people finish their thoughts. And then you chime in with either valid questions, rebuttals, or comments. And what I say to people that tell me that is this: I do that because my entire goal is to be part of the solution. We may not ever be able to fix this world and the stuff that goes on in this world. But my biggest thing is, if we can understand each other, that is part of the battle. We don't have to agree, but we don't have to call each other names. We don't have to throw in the towel and say F this and F this person and F that person and throw a tantrum. We don't. We've got to learn to control our emotions. I have shared with you guys plenty of times that in this political climate that we're in, my grandfather taught me something, especially because there was a time when I was so confused on what I expected from the president and what I was looking for. And my grandfather told me this, and it stuck with me. Rest in peace, my grandfather. He said, you have to take your emotions out of voting. You got to take your emotions out of it. And you have to think about what you expect and what's most important to you and vote accordingly. But take your emotions out of it, because if you vote emotionally, you're going to be let down. He goes, that's the truth. Get out of your feelings. Oh, this person said something to hurt my feelings. Think about it from a business standpoint. And so ever since my grandfather taught me that, I look at this country as a business. And what I feel like we're electing every year or every 4 years is a new CEO of this company we call the United States of America. And do we ever get it right? Fuck no. But I do my best to assess the candidates we're given and hope that the CEO that I choose does a great job. And 9 times out of 10, they don't get it right. But it is what it is. It's the system, and it's what we were given. Now, aside from that, when I do my lives, okay, and if you haven't joined my lives at all, and maybe you're just watching this on YouTube, or maybe you're just listening on Spotify, Apple, or Amazon, and you're wondering, what are the lives like? Well, my lives get very packed. We average anywhere from 70 to 120 people a night, and it gets up to 70,000 to 100,000 likes at night. It gets really busy now. But I tell people all the time, if you come on to the live and you are easily offended about the topic or about what people are saying, then do not join the live. Meaning, don't just join the live and sit in the chat room and get offended and start arguing with everybody, okay? And especially those who come live who actually join the chat box where you can hear their voice. Don't ask to come in and join the actual audio chat if you get offended when people don't agree with you. This goes back to me saying, we've got to find a way to be cordial with each other and listen to each other. And for me, I'm to the point, and I've been showing it the last few times, where I'm not going to allow the back and forth, the arguing. And if you're so passionate about it, if you're so passionate about what you have to say, and the channel that I have created for my podcast isn't for you, the easy answer is create your own channel. That's the truth. Does it mean that I love you any less or I don't appreciate you? No, I fully appreciate you. I do. But I've been doing my podcast for 6 years. All right? 6 years. I've just been going live for 8 months. So those who have been with me for 8 months, they're seeing it now. But it's been going on for 6 years. I just decided to take it live. So when I have people come onto the live and they get combative and they start arguing with each other, or they start making demands, or they start saying, you know, whatever they say in the chat, and they don't agree, or they say I'm done with this live, or they say this panel is ridiculous, maybe that's when you need to sit out, because the conversation is triggering you. Now, here's the thing, man. I keep telling you guys I'm different. I don't get triggered very easily. I have my emotions in check, and I tell everybody all the time, I love when people say, oh, I've done the work to get better and to heal. And then you see things get rough and they absolutely fold and get emotional and get combative and all that. What that tells me is you haven't done the healing, that you've still got a whole lot of healing to go. You still got a whole lot of work to do. That's the truth. For me, I don't get mad. I don't get upset when people don't agree. And most people that come on to my live broadcast for the podcast, they will tell you, I have had people on that have challenged me. I have had people on that have tried to use my own broadcast to try to embarrass me, and it just doesn't work. And there's a simple reason why that doesn't work. Is because what I've shared with you guys from day one here on this podcast. And that is because I tell everything about my life and share it. There is nothing that someone can come back and say, oh, well this, oh, well that, he's this, he's that. I share everything. I don't hide stuff. I'm very honest about when I'm doing good. I'm very honest when I'm doing bad. And I'm very honest when I'm in between somewhere. So I don't get triggered easy. In fact, I get better when it gets combative. I allow people to say whatever aggressive stuff they're going to say, whatever disrespectful stuff they're going to say within reason. And then I chime in and I sternly give or firmly give my opinion on the topic. And if they don't like it, I say, then you're more than welcome to leave and find another live, or you're more than welcome to leave and go discuss this on your own channel. But one thing I'm not going to do is apologize for letting people talk about something that's controversial, whatever the topic is. Now, I've had people, tell me, oh, you shouldn't let certain people on the panel. You shouldn't let certain people have an opinion. You should try your best to keep the people who've been around from the beginning. You should try to, cater to them. I'm not catering to anybody. I'm not. That's not how this works. I'm not going to coddle people. I'm not catering to nobody. I've never catered to anybody on my podcast, and I don't cater to anybody in real life. If I do cater to anybody, it's my children. I am not catering to adults. It's not happening. So I'm going to be firm in telling you that. If someone decides to leave because they don't agree with how things are done, love you. I wish you well. God bless you. That is the truth. It's just not going to happen. We're all adults, at least from what I understand on my podcast and this live that we do. We have the majority of everybody there is adults, close to my age. Some are younger, some are older, but we're adults. So I'm going to treat you as such, like I hope you treat me as such. And at the end of the day, if it frustrates you, or you don't feel like you're getting enough attention, or you feel like you were challenged more than someone else was challenged, I can't control that. I do my best to reel everybody back in when they get off topic. I do my best to make sure that we're being respectful. I do my best when things are getting a little hazy. I try to make sure we mute people so people can talk. But that's all I'm going to guarantee you that I'm going to do, is I'm going to do my best. And if it's not good enough for you, then you need to find another channel that fits what you're looking for, or create one. I said this last night. There are tons of lives on TikTok that talk about nonsense. If you want to talk about brainless stuff that doesn't challenge you, there's tons of lives like that. Have at it. But when you come on to The Perfect Mess, it is exactly that. Some days it's going to be perfect. Some days it's going to be a mess. And you have to decide when you come in and engage in or listen to the topic, whether you're going to engage or say, nah, I'm going to sit this one out. I'm going to go to bed. That is a grown-up decision. That's not a decision I have to make for you. And that's not a decision that I'm going to feel guilty for if you stick around and get mad and get angry and start DMing me. It's not going to happen. All right? If you make the conscious decision to stick around on a topic that's triggering you, or a room that is triggering you, that is your decision as an adult. All right? Like I've told people, I've had thousands of emails about topics I've discussed on my podcast. Like I said, I've been doing this for 6 years. I've had thousands of emails come in where people have either praised the topic that I talk about on my podcast, or they have downright told me I'm off my rocker. Who the fuck do you think you are talking about this? It's disrespectful. I don't agree with your views. Cool. But you know what I like is it's a mixture of everything. And the one thing that I enjoy is if I'm talking about stuff that is making you think and have an opinion, then it's working. Because I want you to think. I want you to have an opinion. I want you to have ideas. I want your limits to be pushed. Because when you're pushed, you may open up a little bit. Whether it's to loosen up your opinions on a certain topic and maybe agree to some things, or maybe it forces you to actually defend what you stand for and what you believe in. Regardless of which way that goes, it's going to make you think. And that's what I'm about. I tell you guys, I read every day. I write. I'm writing my first book right now. But I also talk for a living. I talk all the time. I mentor. This is what I do. So having conversations, difficult or easy, it's what I do. It's what I enjoy. So I hope that makes sense. I hope this makes sense to you. And I hope you understand that my life is what it is. Some days it's going to be warm and fuzzy. Some days it's going to be indifferent. And some days it might downright piss you off because there are people on the panel that are complete opposite of what you feel on the topic. And those days you're going to have to decide, do I want to stick around or do I want to sit this one out? Now, whether you decide to stick around for a little bit or you sit this one out or you unfollow me and say to hell with everything you're doing, that's up to you. No harm, no foul. No harm, no foul. Trust me. My life continues to go on. I continue to raise my kids. I continue to coach baseball. I continue to drop episodes of my podcast. It does not stop. Doesn't mean I don't value you if you come through and join the conversation and support me. I do. But if I chased everybody that didn't agree with how my live went or how my podcast went for a certain episode or a certain live broadcast or topic, I've been losing sleep. And at 51, I need all the sleep I can get. So, with that being said, I hope this hits home and you understand. And if you don't understand, it is what it is. I love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful day. And remember, please subscribe when you go to YouTube. Search for The Perfect Mess Podcast and subscribe. Follow me on TikTok and Instagram at It's Ray Molina. And the podcast also has a TikTok and Instagram, and that is at The Perfect Mess Pod. My website is raymolina.com. My Cash App is $ It's Ray Molina. My Venmo is at It's Ray Molina. And my PayPal is at It's Ray Molina. All right? Like I always say, my life isn't perfect. Oftentimes it is a mess. But for me, it is the perfect mess. I love you. God bless.